So hello everyone, and very much welcome to this special edition of the Amsterdam Fintech Week video broadcasting. We're basically interviewing all the speakers and partners, the sponsors, speakers and partners that we've worked with over the past time to organize Amsterdam Fintech Week, to get a bit more insights about what's going on at their organizations and to see how they engage with the ecosystem in the Dutch market and how Amsterdam Fintech Week plays a role. And today I'll be talking to Erwin Dreuning from Strater. Hello, Erwin.
Hi, Don. Good afternoon. Very good to see you again. And welcome to everybody listening to the show.
Yeah, very, very nice to have you on board here. We're very much looking forward to learn a bit more about Strater for the ones that are not so familiar with you just yet. And of course, to get a bit of an insight about what you see as interesting developments in the market and how you think that we can play into that during Amsterdam Fintech Week. So maybe first to start with, I think especially I think in the Dutch market, Strater is almost a household name for people that are in the mortgage business. But can you tell me a little bit about what Strater does? What kind of role do you play in the market?
Yes, definitely, Don. In the past, Strater really was a back office service provider, and that's how we still are seen every now and then in the market. But we moved from the real back office service providing to a full service provider of mortgage services in the Netherlands, Belgium, and also Germany nowadays. So we're really moving away from back office service providing to do the monthly payments, the building deposit, and things like that, to really facilitate the whole process in mortgage chain. And there is the connection with tech, with IT is very important. We're moving actually from an operations department, we're moving to an IT company.
Okay. That's quite interesting. There's quite a transition that you have to manage then, and you're probably on top of that as a CEO of the company. So can you describe a little bit of that transition? Do you go like from also a monolithic system to more versatile modular, or what kind of challenges do you face there?
Well, basically, maybe one step before I can answer that, more looking at from a strategic perspective. I see developing the change from a country European mortgage market to a more pan-European mortgage market. So you see that whole competitive landscape from origination's perspective. I see that changing. That does something, and I won't go into detail about strategy. We can do that maybe in a few minutes. But I've looked at the IT landscape. That vision and that vision that you think we are going to a multi-country servicing system does something with your IT environment. And there, indeed, we need to change from a mono system to a more multi-platform system with components. And there's also a huge connection with other parties than Strater itself. In the past, the idea was we can do everything ourselves, and we can do everything we do best when we do it ourselves. Where I much more believe in an ecosystem with the right connects with the right external parties, and together you ensure you have you facilitate the whole mortgage process, mainly from an IT perspective.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's quite a transition, I think, to manage, right? Because I think that generally, especially this do-it-yourself attitude is pretty hard to get rid of in an organization, right? So it's a really cultural change you also have to go through. How does that go at the moment?
Yeah, it is absolutely true. It's a massive transition where we currently see, and it's not only from a cultural perspective, but I believe that if you change an organization, if you really change the strategy, you have to look at your organization as a whole. So it does something with your KPIs. It does something with your performance, your internal performance indicators. It does something with your leadership, with your governance, but it also does indeed a lot with your culture, and that does some. That means for us as leaders, or for me as CEO, but also for my board, it does. We need to change, but also the staff working on the organization needs to change, and that's absolutely the transition, which is very important, necessary, but also very intense. And indeed, I'm on top of that, and mainly, well, the face of that transition is me, and that's obvious for what we are trying to do now.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to go through that transition, but quite a challenge from time to time, I can imagine. And so then let's say also your focus becomes from, let's say, inward capability focus, also really focused on outward capabilities, right? So who can you partner up with to bring more tools on board, new capabilities, be further connected. How do you manage that?
With mistakes. So everybody makes mistakes in these kind of transition. But what for me the most important thing is that we have focus on the end customer and on the originator. And as long as our business partners have that same focus, we will find a kind of modular way in which we can really develop. And from that perspective, it's really important, in my view, to fintech is very important for the development of the market chain. On the other hand, we also see law and regulations changing, which makes it necessary to also connect more with traditional parties and service providers. And that's a kind of spider in the web in the ecosystem we want to be. And therefore, fintech is for us crucial for the technical development, for the fresh ideas, for stepping out your regular way of working, for game-changing ideas. But on the other hand, it's also important to have connection with existing portfolios, act like a fintech and deliver like a startup, like a mature company. That's important in the current situation.
I can imagine, because I think also a lot of parties are looking for a stable partner, and I think your track record and experience also is worth a lot, right? You don't want to throw away.
And that's absolutely true. And also there are a lot of law regulation regarding, for example, data and how data is secured and how you process data and these kind of things. And I'm not saying that a fintech company can't do that. That's definitely not the case. I think there are a lot of examples that is done very well. But on the other hand, there are also a lot of examples where the more traditional companies have a track record there as well. And combining that together, that's the most challenging and also the most important thing to be successful in the future.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so, I think it's interesting also to see, right? So I think you took on quite an active role during Amsterdam Fintech Week as well, to really be visible in the middle of that ecosystem and connect to all the parties from basically the domestic market, but including basically the whole of Europe. What was your experience there? What did you get out of that?
Well, a lot of ideas, a lot of energy, how fintechs act and how fintechs work, and also how your organization works. That really is the way forward if you look at customer user experience. I don't think there's any big organization capable of matching that. So for us, it really helped, and therefore for us, it's very important to have that connect. On the other hand, I hope also from the other way around that fintech companies see that there is added value for organization for more traditional organized on their way to more fintech company. That there's also a benefit in teaming up with those kind of organization, and that was for us important to pick up an important role at Holland Fintech Week, because it's incredibly important, and that's the only way to really become more successful as we currently are, and to fulfill our ambitions, because we are extremely ambitious in the upcoming 3 to 5 years, and we can only do that when we have the right connection with the whole chain, and there is fintech very important for us.
Yeah. I think it's really great that we could collaborate on that level, and indeed, I think there's a really big appetite from players across the market to collaborate and explore new ideas and new collaboration potential from that perspective. One thing I'm also curious about is that you mentioned earlier, I think, let's say, sort of the more harmonization that's taking place across the mortgage market in Europe, right? So I think it's turning more into a one single mortgage market to a certain extent. Where do you see that going? Because I think that's quite interesting as well. That from a national organized, where all the mortgage markets are slightly different per country, they become much more unified, and therefore capital, but also indeed the facilitators can actually become much more active on an international scale.
Yeah, that's definitely our strategy. Our strategy is for the upcoming 3 to 5 years, further growth in the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. From a more high level perspective, like I said, I see the market evolving from country driven to more European Euro market, and I see 3 things influencing that. First of all, law and regulation. what you see is that law and regulation more and more are European regulated. And of course, there are some changes in the country, but the outline is more and more from the European Central Bank. Look at the GDPR, but look at also the European valuation standards, all those kind of things. And of course, like I said, there are some deviations, but it does something with your financial system in the country. I think the second part, which is changing very rapidly, is consumer behavior. The impact of IT on consumer behavior is tremendous, and that started, in my opinion, in the fast-moving consumer goods. We ordered a washing machine and we want to have it the day after in our house, and more that's going into financial products as well. We want to have 24/7 access to our financial products, whether it's mortgages or insurance, whatever. We want to have real life experience. We want to have a customer and user experience with really touches to my needs. That's something that, because of that IT, is also that taking down the European borders. You see the development of how for example, Belgium and Germany, who are still a little bit behind us if you look at digitization, they're teaming up very rapidly. So that also influences that creating a European market. And the third part is IT making it all happen and making it all possible. IT does make it possible to have an extremely quick go-to-market, to really have a very quick entry to a new market, all those kind of things. Having said that, given the financial impact and the cultural specs of mortgages, I don't see that in 3 to 5 years that we have one big European mortgage market, including legacy. What I do see happening, and actually that's currently going on, is that new originators, and especially the originator distributor parties, they are, with the help of technology partners, entering new markets, and they are looking for service provider. There you see that with Stata facilitating in those 3 countries, they're actually interested in entering those countries. Those are currently parties who really work with a coordinated role. There are a few people, and they have some external service provider, external reporting lines, external funding. And with those changes I just outlined, together with the service provider who provide those services, you see that now, in short time, we're going to announce that the first German client is actually starting to originate mortgages via the Dutch platform. And in Belgium, the same discussions are going on. And that is basically, and that's what you said. There you see that European servicing market completely changing because of the three components I just tried to outline.
Yeah, but I think it's really interesting because you indeed say, the cultural differences for mortgages are still pretty different. So that means that if you look at the front end and the customer interaction, that's where you also require a certain local component to really understand the customer and understand the local customs. But on the basically the facilitation side, it becomes more unified, and you could actually extend your services much easier across different states, as well as that the capital flows are becoming more international, right?
Absolutely, that's absolutely true. Our view is, and that's how we expand in the current focus countries, local client and customer interaction, central back office activities. That's how, and that's exactly how you outline it is how we see it as well. Yeah.
And so one thing I'm curious about is also, so let's say, having some experience in lengthy mortgage processes myself. What do you see? Let's say, I think you mentioned that as well as sort of the drive towards real time, instant satisfaction. I think also moving into financial services. Where do you see this going with regard to mortgages and the speed of the process there?
Well, I think we are already there. I think there are a number of examples of originators who are capable of providing instant approvals, providing instant payments, providing instant customer and user interaction. What I see happening there, and there is the role of fintech again very important, is that if you look at the more big traditional banks and insurance companies, their time to market is often longer as with a small fintech. So if you look to the Dutch mortgage market, the go-to market of the new players with the help of fintech and also with the help of Stater, because we are for part of our organization also moving to fintech. Their go-to market is already at a speed what you currently outlined. And I also know the examples of the lengthy processes, but I can also give and show you examples of very, very quick processes, originators who have instant approvals, instant payment of building deposit, all those kind of things. But again, given the fact it's a very it's a product which is really close to a consumer. From a financial perspective, it's huge. It's very important. But also, it is our house. So you see, we feel connected. It takes a little bit more time, but the development there is absolutely going on. And again, there are already examples. And like I said, we are going to announce the first entrance in Germany, and that's with a complete digital mortgage with approvals within in a time frame we couldn't have imagined a year or 2 years ago.
Wow, cool. I think that's really nice to see those examples coming to the market indeed. And I think it's definitely something that a lot of consumers are waiting for because I think that it's a very important product, and I think there's still a lot of stress involved in the process of obtaining it so far. So I think anything that can be done to reduce that stress is highly important.
Yeah, and there also law and regulation helps, because of law and regulation, the complexity of the loan is decreased tremendously. All the different futures we had 5 and 10 years ago, they're all gone. Basically, a mortgage is a very simple product. It's almost a commodity, and because it's a commodity, you can gain a lot of advantage in your process speed, and you can really focus on the customer and user experience. And that's again the interaction between consumer behavior changing, IT developments, and law and regulation. So that in my opinion, that's all related to each other and helps each other.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. So I'm really looking forward to the exciting changes in this market going forward. And of course, over the coming year, we'll be continuing to work with you as Holland Fintech. But of course, next year we'll also organize Amsterdam Fintech Week again. Probably also again we are able to meet each other physically after the COVID measures have been downplayed. Is there anything particular that you would be looking forward to, or you think would be on the agenda for next year that you would be interested in?
I think the further development of the ecosystem, and then the ecosystem for 360 degrees. So real fintech new startups together with scale-ups, together with more mature developed countries. That developing that ecosystem is for me really interesting, fantastic, because it's not only in the IT part you have to integrate, but you also have to integrate culture and way of thinking, and that's really what I'm looking forward to, and where I think that Holland Fintech can really has an important role for us, and therefore the connection also with the Holland Fintech Week, it's for us a great opportunity to also connect with the with those kind of companies, and hopefully the other way around, it adds value as well. And developing that's my that really makes me enthusiastic, and I'm looking forward to that, and that's the main thing for me in this year.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, Erwin. It was great talking to you and listening to the vision of Stater for the future. We'll definitely keep on working together, and looking forward to see you again soon. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Don. Have a great day, everyone, and thanks very much again, Don.